In this video, we're gonna be comparing the DJI Osmo 360 against the Insta360 X5. Both of these cameras have some real strengths, so I'm interested to put these side by side, go do some shooting with them, and we can get some great side by side visuals to make the best call. There are some deal breakers for both of these cameras. Depending on what type of creator you are, you might want to go with either one of these separately. This video is sponsored by DJI, but I'm going to give you guys a fully honest and transparent opinion. We're going to talk specs. We're going to give you guys all the visuals you need to make your own decision. Now let's talk about the deal breaker that a lot of people are in the comments talking about already, which is that the Insta360 X5 has swappable lenses. The other thing that the X5 offers is being able to swap on ND filters and being able to control your shutter speed a little bit better than maybe the Osmo will give you. But for me, the Osmo 360 has some fantastic new features that really step this into a professional creator's world that the X5 doesn't offer. So let's talk about the specs. Let's talk about which camera might be best for you. Let's talk about image quality and the sensors. So both cameras are 8K cameras, but the DJI has a brand new 1-inch sensor, which is actually a really great new development that they made specifically for 360 cameras. It has 8K up to 50 frames per second. The Insta360 X5 also shoots in 8K up to 30 frames per second, but it is not using that same technology with that 1-inch sensor. It's using a standard camera sensor. So there is a bit of cropping room and some potential details lost there. Practically speaking, in daylight, I don't think you're gonna see a really big difference in image quality between the two. It's really when it comes down to maybe some low light performance that you may start to see some better details in the Osmo 360 because it has that bigger sensor and it's using more details out of that sensor. The Osmo 360 has an aperture value of f1.9 and the X5 has an aperture value of 2.0. So again, just a slight edge on the Osmo 360 in terms of that low light performance if that's something that you're shooting. Let's talk about bit depths, colors, and dynamic range. Again, this is going to be a bit of a preference thing. So with seeing these images on screen, you guys can choose which one you think looks better because this is an opinion you get to make, not a YouTuber on the internet. So hopefully you guys can see both of these well and make an educated decision. Where the Osmo 360 to me has a bit of an advantage is that the Osmo 360 offers you D-Log-M with 10-bit color. So as a professional content creator, that's huge because this will align better with most of my other cameras. I'll be able to manipulate the colors, put my LUTs on it, and overall just have a bit more push and pull with the image quality of this. Also, I think it will retain the highlights and the lowlights a little bit better. Now the X5 also has a really great image quality, specifically in the daylight, and I have no gripes with it at all. The X5 has what's called adaptive tone, where it will kind of map as best as it can all of the highlights and lowlights, doing its best to maximize dynamic range as well. Now this is only available if you're using the 8K sensor. If you scroll down to the 5.7 or the 4Ks, I'm not seeing that adaptive tone is supported, so you have to be shooting at the highest resolution. Again, this camera only has 8-bit color depth, which in most cases is fine, but if you're looking to be more of a professional creator and throw some 360 content into a greater project, then maybe you'd lean more towards the 360 in that it'll fit better. This will look more like an action cam. So if you're looking for just an action cam to strap on and capture your mountain biking adventures or strap on your car and get some really cool shots, then either one of these is technically going to work great for that action cam style. But for someone like me, I lean more towards that ability to have that D-Log-M, that flat color profile, and being able to manipulate and bring my colors where I want them. In all the use cases that you saw here me comparing, I had them both in their just native status. I turned them on and I hit shoot. And so they're going to look very similar. But where this camera really does set itself apart is when you go into the pro mode. You can turn on that D-Log 10-bit, and to me it looks substantially better image quality when you change that over on the Osmo 360. And the X5, you do have a flat color profile that you can use, but it's not a log profile. And again, you're only using that 8-bit color. If you're someone that likes using slow motion, both cameras have that option. Again, the Osmo has 8K up to 50 frames per second, which beats the Insta360 X5 because this has 8K, 30 frames per second. And as you go down the list, you can get 5.7K, 60 frames per second, and 4K, 120 frames per second. On the Osmo 360, you can get 6K 60 frames per second and 4K 100 frames per second. In my testing, I didn't really like how either of them looked in slow motion. To me, it just gets a little bit too mushy. We're compressing the image a little bit too much. Let's talk about batteries and storage. That's actually something that really is important with these cameras. They both have decent battery life, and that's important. When it comes to 360 cameras, you tend to mount these somewhere, put them somewhere, and just let them run, and then you're gonna shoot or edit the footage afterwards. So you need to have really good batteries. The Osmo 360 can record 8K 30 frames per second for 100 minutes, or up to 120 minutes if you use endurance mode, but you lose a few features there. The X5, on the other hand, gives you about 88 minutes at 8K 30 frames per second, or 135 minutes if you're using the 5.7K resolution. What's really cool about the Osmo 360, if you get the adventure combo, it comes with a bunch of batteries and they come in the same pack. Whereas the X5, I do have extra batteries, but they're all in individually wrapped boxes, if that makes sense. So when it comes to like organization or packing your bag, I prefer the Osmo 360's battery storage solution. You just have to charge one thing, you can charge it through that case. So storage and traveling with them, it's a little bit easier with the Osmo 360. As well, if you're already in the DJI ecosystem and you have the Osmo Action 5 camera, you are using the same batteries and the same mounting solutions. Again, because the ecosystem is so well developed on the DJI side, a huge standout feature for the DJI Osmo 360 is that you can connect your mic minis, these guys, to your 360 camera, which for me as a content creator full-time is an absolutely massive win for the Osmo 360. So it's super interesting how DJI has continued to build on their ecosystem, and the Osmo 360 fits seamlessly inside of that ecosystem. When it comes to storage, you need to buy a micro SD card for the X5. If you already have one, that's fantastic. If you don't already have one, the Osmo 360 comes with built-in storage. So you can turn this thing on and hit run and you can already have storage on this. So I kind of like that. I don't have to use an SD card in this. If you want extra security, you can do that. But I've been using I think it's 110 or 105 gigs of internal storage on this, and that's been plenty for me to shoot 2 YouTube videos in full on this camera. Okay, so let's talk about the build and the ecosystem of each camera. I've been holding these the entire time I've been filming, and honestly, weight-wise, they don't really feel that different. How they feel in the hand, they're both really good quality. I don't feel like either of these is cheap. They both have that really nice touch and feel to them. On the exterior, there's a bit of more grip on the side of the X5 there, but most of the time you're going to be mounting these somewhere, usually on a selfie stick of sorts, and both have great selfie sticks. What's really interesting about the Osmo 360 is it has this magnetic grip on it, so you can just attach that and detach that from the stick really easily without having to spin it off. And what I like about that is when you're setting this camera somewhere interesting, like mounting it to a car like I do, if you want to change settings, I can just pop this off really quick, change the settings on the camera, and then remount it. With the X5, I had to bend over, I had to get the camera where I needed it, change the settings on it in an awkward position. So having the ability to mount that on that magnetic handle grip thing was actually really convenient. In regards to the ecosystem, the X5 has a really well-built app. The connection is super easy to use, and again, they give you tons of fun ideas for filming with your 360 camera, which as a content creator, it is kind of nice when they come up with the ideas and you can just integrate that idea into your video. The Osmo 360, the app isn't as well developed in terms of giving you fresh ideas. The Mimo app is really well developed in that it's the same app that they've been using for all their other cameras. So connection's great. The ability to edit in there is seamless and very easy to understand, in the same way that the X5, when you're editing on mobile, really easy to understand. So what are my final thoughts here? If you are someone that is brand new to the 360 camera world, or you're looking for your first or next action camera, I think the Osmo 360 is going to give you a few more options as creators in terms of being able to put the microphones on it, being able to use 10-bit D-Log-M color. That's going to give you a lot more flexibility in post. If you're not new to the 360 world and you already have a ton of Insta360 accessories, then you may just want to stick in that ecosystem. But to me, having 8-bit color depth, while it does integrate into projects, it still is going to give you a bit of that action cam look, And I think you can get a little bit farther away from that action cam look with the Osmo 360. So if I'm using it for client work, if I'm using it for my YouTube, I'm going to lean towards the Osmo 360. I've also bought the DJI refresh care on it, so if I do ding it up, scratch it, I can just pay a small fee, send it back to DJI and get my camera back. But at this point, what's great is that we now have two big fighters in the ring, and so they're just gonna push each other to be better in both ways. I'd be surprised if the Insta360s don't start integrating 10-bit color, and I'd be surprised if the Osmo 360's next generations don't have swappable lenses. So at that point, it really does come down to what is your ecosystem, what do you like to use, what makes you happiest when you're shooting. And so for me, that's the Osmo 360, that's my opinion, but I hope that this has given you guys a bit of education in what might be the better pick for you. If you guys found value in this, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you haven't yet, I love creating content for you guys, with you guys, and building a community together. I hope I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.